Welcome everyone to season 2 of Wood from the Trees. Leo Harrigan and Derek Murray.
It's a nice big thing in my face here.
We are having pints of wine.
No, we're not.
We are.
We're not.
This is the first one where we've had I've had a few drinks.
In our Galway Bay glasses.
You make sure that you keep these in.
Right there.
Oh, yeah, we're as close. Just imagine that it's your boyfriend's member.
Again.
Yeah, again. And then you'd be grand. Just don't lick it because you might get an electric shock and I'm not insured for that kind of thing.
We can't lick it.
No.
Okay.
It's pretty crusty.
So these guys are my best friends, right? They're around number...
Let's back that up a second now. Hold on.
9 or 10.
Okay.
9 or 10. Right? And they don't think they're my best friends, but
What's
they always text me and go, "Oh, since you came into our lives, you're the best thing ever and we love you so much."
As I'm touching myself. Again.
I met these two lads at the Cannonball, and when I went to the Cannonball, I didn't think there'd be much crack, I'd now say, but it actually was. They were great hot crack. And lately people have been messaging me and they've been really liking the podcast where you're talking to people that, because there's a lot of young people that are confused and they do stuff in college and do stuff in school and they don't know what to do when they get older, and they think that if they fail at whatever they're studying at, that they're going to fail in whatever they plan to do after, and it's a big mess.
Yeah.
So it's great to have two guys that are somewhat successful in business but didn't plan
that failed.
that failed in many other things.
Well,
we'll tell you what not to do.
Yeah.
Myself and Leo always have this saying, we're never losing, we're learning.
Yeah.
I never said that.
You did.
No, I didn't.
Just the way in.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
So we'll start with Derek Murray, and your company that you own is
Foregolf. So, yeah, we're a golf custom club making business.
And you're in business how long?
Since 97. We opened the business in 97 with about 25 grand. We started the business with 25 grand. And now we turn over quite a bit more than that.
And that obviously wasn't what you started in school.
No, and so like it's interesting you say that the whole, that there's people out there that are confused, and I didn't know what to do. And like I did that even search just out of it because it was kind of the end of the road thing. It wasn't that I was
Remember the penis thing? Remember? Put it right here.
You want it real close?
Yeah, that's nice.
Okay, fine.
Yes.
It's gonna rub your beard off.
Yeah.
Even no beard.
But I didn't know what to do. Like
You went to school
Sorry,
together.
Leo and I are buddies from school. We went to school together, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. In fact, I remember doing the CEO course and filling out the fucking CEO and saying there was like salmon farming thing in Donegal. I said, "Fuck it, I'll put that down."
Salmon farming.
Well, yeah, because it sounded cool, Well, not cool,
No, it
but it
doesn't.
sounded different.
Don't sound of shit.
Salmon farming.
Well, no, because it was on the CEO and there was very little points for it. I thought that I could maybe do
That
that.
makes more sense than it sounded cool.
That was on the second page. I never even got there.
Yeah, no, but it was like you just didn't know what to do. I genuinely didn't know what to do, but I did know. It's funny when I came out of school. Then I was like, oh, I want to get into radio. I want to get into journalism, and that's what I really wanted to do. I was really good at English, so I had to only get into journalism. So I'd applied to a couple of radio stations and then got some work with a couple of radio stations.
Pirate ones or real ones?
Irish ones. No, pirate ones, real ones. Yeah.
Straight out of school.
Yeah. I got some.
To do what?
Well, just like make tea and run around and all that kind of shit. So like nothing, not on the show or anything, but just I wanted to get into journalism, and that's where my parents were kind of pushing me towards to do that, broadcasting / journalism. So that's what, and I thought that's what I wanted to do. But yeah, I mean, like, I guess one of the things I learned was just to go on the journey. Just take the journey. Like take what's coming at you and just go on the journey. Because like if you fucking try and plan the whole thing out, like you have to remember, like you're 17, 18. I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do. And I genuinely mean that.
Still knowing you probably didn't even know
I
your
still
sexuality.
I know I was fairly. Thanks, Dave.
Didn't see that one going.
I did like a sniper's bullet that one. But like, I genuinely didn't know what to do. So anyway, look, it's worked out pretty good for me, to be fair. But I mean, I guess the learning side of this is, it's not necessarily what you think you want to do. You just have to go on the journey, and it will find you.
So
and
how
like
long did
my
you
job
stay in radio?
Well, we got on. I was working with Radio Dublin then for a while. Well, but I got a job, so I went working at the K Club in Kildare. That's where I started in the golf course.
But you're mad for golf.
No, like I wasn't a golfer at all.
Even when you started working
No,
at K
I
Club,
couldn't play at all. Couldn't play at all.
Just loved the shaft and balls.
Yeah, I played football like and soccer, and like I didn't know anything about golf. But my grandfather was a really good golfer, and he knew everybody in golf. And he got me a job interview at the K Club with the pro that was there, and I lived up the road.
What?
We're just working in the pro shop and doing bits and pieces.
What's a pro shop?
A place where the pro sells stuff. It's like a golf shop at the golf club.
For buying golf clubs, golf balls, and
Right.
clothes.
And then, well, when I started first, I was doing everything. I was just, a runaround kind of thing at the K Club before it opened. That's what I was working for. And they let me, pick where I wanted to work then once the whole place opened. I was there as a kind of a runaround. Meet this guy, meet that guy, get that stuff in there, put the knife and forks in the restaurant, blah, 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 before it actually opened.
So you were kind of like a skivvy.
Yeah, a skivvy, absolutely. But I was only 18. And we lived down the road from the K Club at the time in Strafford, so it was easy for me to get to work because only 2 minutes away. So that made sense. And I started there, and then when the whole place opened, the guy that ran the place said, "You should work in the golf shop. There's a guy there called Ernie Jones. He's the pro, and he'll teach you a few things and keep you going." So that's what I did.
It's me starting my career again.
Actually, Leo's pouring red wine here as we're talking.
Wine out of pint bottles.
But sure. And that's where I started in golf. And then I worked there for a while.
Is that where you started loving playing golf and stuff?
Not really loving playing. I was, to be honest with you, Dave, the big thing for me was learning how to look after people. And I still do that today. And there it was a 5-star hotel and golf course. And one of the things you had to do was look after people. And at the time, it was all the top people in business in Ireland were members there, and they were golfers there. So you learned quickly how to look after people. And then, the whole service side of things. That's where I learned was how to look after people and look after people well. So, what that took, what that looked like.
So how did all the rumours start? Have you been a secret agent for all the top stars in Ireland?
Yeah.
Leo only found out about this on the way down.
About 2.5 hours ago.
Yeah, well, we kept it under wraps. And to be fair, because
Pretty secret.
I started working for an Irish family in their security as part of their security team, and I went and did all my security training, and then I worked in the O2 when the golf business came down a little. Things were going quiet with us, so I had to get work, like you were saying earlier on.
Was this pre-starting your own business?
No, it was during my business.
During your business?
Yeah.
So you stayed in the K Club till what time, just working?
96.
And then?
I started my business in 97.
All right, so from the K Club you started your business?
Yeah.
So we'll park that there for a minute.
Sure.
And then we'll go back to big bad Leo.
Oh.
So Leo, you left school, you were all buddies.
We were buddies in school, weren't we? Yeah.
And you wanted to
allegedly.
I probably like Derek didn't know what I wanted to do. I think we had a day out in school with Kevin Street College or somewhere, and we had so many people presenting what you could do, and I hadn't a clue, but I got into my head I was going to do hotel management, and I think in leaving cert year worked in the Russell Court in Dublin, got a taste for hall porter, working the bar, working the nightclub, and just again loved the hospitality side of it. So started doing catering management, which should be a 3-year course. Turned it into a 4-year course because I spent most of it probably boozing. And that was it. But did 4 years of it, came out of it, did 3 months of it, and just realised it wasn't for me.
Just all of a sudden, did you always know, God, I don't think I like this? I don't think this is for me.
I don't know. I think it was just one of those things. It's the whole idea of if you go and the perfect life is you study and you go to college and you think life's great, but the best thing is university life. So when you come out and you try the real world, you realise it's not for you, and that's not a bad thing. So I was 21, 22 coming out of college, realising I was good as wasted 4 years. I went in every day. We'd have various classes, and it wasn't a typical I shouldn't say UCD 15-hour-a-week arts class. We did a 30, 40-hour week. So it was fairly intense, but I lived for 5 o'clock, out the door, go and work for my dad part-time at 6 o'clock, work till 9 at night, and then start the whole day.
Were you working with your dad?
I worked in the Children's Hospital in Harrigan Street, and my first job for most of my college term was burning rubbish. So the days in Dublin City when you could have a big incinerator and annoy the shit out of the guys in KPMG next door, covering it with smoke, that was it every evening. And it's a lovely idea. It was just, you were making money, you were self-sufficient, you had no cares. But the whole idea was I'll do college. When I get out of college, I'll find, my proper job. And it definitely wasn't in catering, but I stayed in the hospital services, did some work with like accommodations officer. So if you picture a 23, 24-year-old, your job is placing nurses in their accommodation. So it's not the worst job in the world.
That was what you were doing then?
That was it, yeah. So I did that for a couple of years. I finished and ended up working for a contract cleaning company back in sort of 98.
Doing cleaning?
Not really, more a technical role. So I always say we described it as the jobs that people didn't want to do. That was your technical role. So it was kind of a fault finding. It wasn't an operations role, but it was a great springboard for me to, I suppose, it gave me a bigger idea of what was out there, because you were dealing with different suppliers, different manufacturers, and probably gave me an idea then at some point I want to do something myself, but I still didn't know what it was.
So while you were working there, you found a niche in the market for what you ended up doing?
Pretty much, yeah, and it wasn't by anything else. It wasn't by default. It was just by chance. So, you go to trade shows every year or two. You still don't know what you want to do, bar if it's a service line, if it's supporting people, if it's, customer service. It's all related in some way. But I still didn't know what it was. But probably what got me to where I ultimately, started selling what we do, which is selling cleaning equipment and so on, was watching our suppliers come in. And I always felt they had a great life compared to what we do. We'd go around dressed as turkeys and suits, and it was all very formal. They come in looking somewhat casual, sell you equipment, and they move on. And I think over time you got to realise that, it's got to be an easier life than dealing with what we were dealing with every day. And that's what got me to start it. So I stayed where I was till 2005. I probably had it in my head from 2004 I was going to leave. And yeah, 2005 started doing what I do today. And
that would have been a big risk. Now, when you done that, you weren't just buying that stuff out of money in your pocket. You had to take a risk. Yeah,
it was a big risk, but it was a harder risk because I loved the job I was in. I loved the company I worked for. I mean, my boss, I won't name him, was a Galway man, or lives in Galway, but he was a really, really good guy to work for and a really good guy to me. So, it was a very, very hard decision to say, you were well looked after. I had nothing to want for, really. Yeah. But it was just something inside that said I want to do something for me. But
do you think I could do this better?
Do I think that now, or do I think it then?
Well, back then you probably wouldn't have said.
Probably not, because I suppose there are two different fields. So one was we were in essence a service company where you were providing services to people. What I do is more supply. So they're definitely two different fields, and I kind of went into it really not knowing what I was doing. So I'll always say, from if you sit down for a year before you decide to start your business and you put a business plan in place, you probably, I would say the end of that first year, I probably realised for every one thing I put in, I missed about 10. So you think you know what you're doing, you think you have a clue. I had no idea, not a clue. And to this day, I probably don't. I wing it half the time. But definitely back then, I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. But part of it is it's sheer graft and luck. I mean, if you want to make it happen, it will happen. If you believe in yourself, it will happen. But half it is just giving yourself a kick in the arse every day and getting out of bed to go and do it.
There's no easy way of doing it. It's just hard, isn't it?
There's no formula. I mean, if you win the lotto tomorrow, it's still not going to be easy, is it? You'll have,
it's probably the worst thing that can happen to you is win the lotto.
Yeah,
it probably is. But I mean, there's always going to be those challenges. And I remember
probably getting raped would be worse.
Well, for you maybe
again,
or.
The first one's the worst.
Yeah.
First one's the worst.
Yeah.
But Leo's great. He's got great contacts and he's great relationships. Like he builds great relationships. So his business builds around those relationships. And I think and my business is exactly the same. It's all about relationships and being able to look after people. And we're doers.
I think it's a fascinating thing that two of you know each other since you were kids.
Yeah.
The two of you are successful businessmen, but you're very different as well. You're very analytical. Like you plan everything down to the minutiae.
Well, no,
and you're
that's because
suck it and see kind of guy.
Yeah, give it a go.
Yeah.
No, but there's an element to me where I'm still not 100% sure. Like so people talk about having this vision. I have this plan, this vision, and I drive for the vision. And then like I don't know what that vision is. I just keep driving, if that makes sense.
What do you mean?
So I don't necessarily. I'm not like I'm big into detail. So I love like you lack detail, which worries me. But Leo's great on detail, but I really like detail. Like I like planning. I like organizing, like exactly when, where, how, when, time, blah blah blah. I like all that, and I'm anal about it.
But he's crap at air codes.
Crap at air codes.
No, I'm
send
not.
them
I'm not
too.
crap at air codes. I sent you both, so you knew both. We're
He
both
said
Crap at
places.
air codes.
we were gonna meet, and he said, "I'll send you an air code." I probably didn't. I'd act detail. I didn't read everything, and I went to the wrong house.
Yeah, so the problem
You
is
scared me,
you
I
as
was gonna
opposed to
share.
so what I did was I sent you both air codes,
Yeah.
and the reason for that is because in case something happened to me, you would still know where to get to Leo.
Yeah,
That's detail.
and I just pressed the first one
just
that I
pressed
seen
go.
when I was going. Ended up in Leo's house when I was supposed to be in your house.
Correct.
But you've been really helpful to me. The two guys they're so sound. I met them at the Cannonball, and when you go to the Cannonball and you're not in that world, you think it's a different world. You think there's people and they're so different and they're on a different level. You know, the people have loads of money, and you think, oh, maybe they're all dickheads. Do you know? But they're not. They're the very same as you. They've just worked hard and it worked out for them. And it could be different in the morning, but everyone's in the same sort of a boat. You just have to stay plodding away and plodding away.
Yeah.
But you've been helpful with telling me, you know, to sort of focus on stuff and help stuff, because I'm doing too much all the time and kind of missing stuff.
To be fair, like you're quite impressive in terms of the fact that you have a full-time
Flirting
job.
now.
Well, no, you have a full-time
Keep
job.
touching her
You
leg.
work.
Getting
No,
an
but you
erection
work.
now.
You work and you work.
Semi-
You work and you work. No, but you work and you work.
Mm.
And you have a family. And I know that the pressures that brings, and they're young family, and I'm on the other end of it. My lads are getting older, but like, and I said this to you before, and I love lads doing well, and I think that's one of the things that we're both into. We're both into people succeeding. Like, we're not into people failing, and it's because we've probably worked so hard for it that we recognise when people are putting effort in, that you applaud that, and that's a problem in Ireland. We don't do that enough to our own. And I have to go to America for people to tell me that I'm brilliant. And no one recognises that here in Ireland. When people are at the top of their game, and I'm at the very top of what I do, the very, very top, and yet I don't get recognition in Ireland. At all, I have to go to the US, and they go to the US, and people are like, "Oh my God, this guy, Jesus Christ, this guy's unbelievable. He knows he's all about this golf thing and blah 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 blah." But I never get that at home.
And the system is designed, government-wise, tax-wise, everything, against someone that's making money in business.
100%.
Like, it's just take more, gets more complicated, more red tape. It's the most stressful. All the stuff that stresses me out the most is the stuff that I didn't think existed before I started my own business. It's all the VAT and tax and administration and emails and just trying to order stuff. It's such a
people.
minefield. Yeah, and people.
Just get a good accountant, give him half it. Let him take all this shit off you.
Two boys are fist pumping for anyone who's not watching on YouTube.
He was touching me again. He wanted to touch my hand.
No, he's right. Leo's right. You know, it's trying to surround yourself with the people that have similar ideas, similar goals, similar. You know, the way that you're trying to go, they want to go with you. And we recently changed our accountant because we wanted somebody that was going in the direction we were going in. And I tried to surround myself with people that are doers. And so when you reached out, or I was talking to you about some logistic stuff, I know a guy who's a doer, so I put you in touch with a guy who's a doer. And then you were like, "That guy's brilliant." And I said, "Well, only because he's a doer. Like, he's into getting shit done."
Yeah.
And
There's an awful lot of chancers out there, isn't there?
yeah,
But you think back to when you start as well, you haven't a pot to piss in. It doesn't matter how much you think you need. If you think you need 20 grand or 50 grand to start a business, double it.
I've been broke more times than I've been.
Really?
Yeah, 100%.
And what keeps you going when you get to that point where, oh, fuck, am I after fucking up? What keeps you going?
Oh, like I remember going to work in the job we have, like in the recession. When the recession came, what was it, 07?
Oh, wait.
Yours is 07, the rest of the world was 08, 09.
Yeah.
Why was yours a year?
Oh, because golf is the first thing people give up on when things get tight, because they don't need it. And
Do you know what it was? They're busy robbing the States, so they hadn't time to play golf, so that kind of fucked the
something
whole
like
thing
that.
up.
Maybe. But the point being,
Makes sense.
the point being, we got so broke so quick, and I had a load of different things going on money wise, and I had to go. I remember going to work in the morning at 8 o'clock, and then finishing at 5, and then driving to the O2 in Dublin, the concert.
So you had your business started.
Yeah,
It went
yeah,
well
yeah.
for...
Oh, it was flying, and suddenly,
It was just you working.
no, there was 5 families.
Just
5.
give a quick rundown of what your actual job was.
So, well, my job is, I guess I'm CEO. I run the business of Foregolf. So we had my parents were involved in the business, my sister's involved in the business, and then at the time we had 2 more guys.
What did you do? Like, what was your job?
My job.
Yeah, what did Foregolf do?
Also, I built custom golf clubs for golfers. Yeah.
And then when things got quiet,
Well, everyone stopped coming.
and was everyone counting on you?
Yeah, 100%. So I had to run the business during the day, try and keep things tight, keep things moving, because we'd 5 families were dependent on us, dependent on me to bring the money in. So we brought in the money, we cut things back, we kept things moving. But I had a little bit of debt going on in my house, so I had to go to the O2 in Dublin and work there from
security.
Yeah, security at the Audi Club. So I used to manage the people coming in, going out of the Audi Club, and then we'd do all the backstage stuff with the artists, and then I'd run the after parties in the O2 that the bands would usually have, and then we would do that till 2-3 o'clock in the morning. And then
So
I'd go home.
basically, I want you to envision this, right?
Envision this.
He had
Paint
a
a
little
picture.
thing in his ear, the
I
suit,
did, yeah.
he had the
Yeah.
gun, and
No,
he
I
was
didn't
with all
have
this.
no, I didn't have a gun.
You didn't have a gun?
Well, no, I did a gun in the O2. No.
Oh, if I had been you, I'd have had a fake gun.
So I can envisage the little microphone, the little earpiece, and never one fucking invite to say anything.
Yeah, that's a
Did
fact.
you not invite him to anything?
Not
No,
one
but
thing.
you can't bring anyone into the place. Like, it's locked down, and like it's so hard to bring people in and out without a ticket.
Except there were bankers who were about to
Yeah,
kind of sign us up to our
Yeah.
starting rotation.
yeah. So I used to do your name's not down, you're not coming in, and then I do up in the gods where watching people, and then I go backstage and look after the guests. We had a situation. We were looking after Britney Spears, and she had a meet and greet, and we had a guy go rogue during the meet and greet. In other words, a fella came in and he hadn't paid his.
Explain a guy go rogue.
So with a lad who had a meet and greet with Britney Spears. There was 7 of them. She came down. They did all the meet and greets, and one of the guys had this backstage AAA pass that he got as part of this competition or shit that he bought or whatever. And he hadn't paid his bill, but they didn't know that until he, had
Till the night.
the meet and greet, and then he went down into the concert. Anyway, this big, huge black fella came in. I'll never forget. He came into the Audi Club. He said, "We need to find this fella."
Coloured.
That was racist.
Sorry, I wasn't a bit racist. It was
You
just
used to say really, really dark grey. Or you say,
Well tanned.
no, you do say black now. You don't say
Is it
coloured.
black?
Yeah, it's black.
It is.
Yeah.
So anyway, this guy came in, huge guy. He said, "We need to find this guy. He's got tickets. He can get backstage. There's a problem with his payment or something." There was some issue with him. I don't know exactly what it was, but anyway, they sent us out to try and find him in the middle of the O2
Shoot him.
during the concert. Yeah, sniper him out of the hills. So myself and this other fella called Darren, he's a good friend of mine, and he was working there as well. So anyway, I said to him, "This is what he looks like." Blah blah blah. Because Darren hadn't even seen him.
Had you a picture of him?
No.
Just give him a description.
Just gave him a description, yeah, and what he was wearing and the color of his shirts and blah blah blah. But anyway, he changed his shirt at the concert.
Sneaky bastard.
Yeah. Anyway, we found him in the middle of the concert. We found him, and anyway, we
In his
found
big
him.
orange shirt.
We found him.
With tweezers.
We found him and we lifted him, and we were doing this sweeping across the crowd, in and out of the crowd. The two of us, in and out, in and out, in and out. Well, next thing I spotted him. Boom, there he is. And we lifted him and brought him around, and he hadn't got the pass on him. Where's the pass? Where's the pass? Oh, my friend has it. Who's your friend? This girl. Where is she? She's in the toilets. Right, let's go. Had him in a headlock, in through the ladies' toilets. Boom, kicked the door in. All the women, "What are you doing in there?" Says, "Get out of my way." And I go, just call her name out. I forget whatever her name was. Kira, whatever. "I'm in here." Boom, that door went in as well. She's sitting in on the toilet.
Apologies to
Give
all
me
Kira's.
Give me the pass. Give me the pass. So I took the pass off her and then brought your man backstage to meet your man. And your man brought him up and put him out through the back door.
Was that every 2 or 3 nights a week?
Yeah, we did that. I did that, and I did the cinema launches or whatever. We used to have to take the phones off people when they were going into the cinema.
Or the red carpet stuff?
Yeah.
Premieres?
Yeah, for the premieres. Stop them from video and the launch of the films, and we'd look after the guys that were coming in, whoever, artists or producers or guests or whatever, and we'd look after them.
Who's the
coming
biggest
in.
dickhead? Famous person that you met?
Vince Vaughn.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
He's just tough work. Just thought he was bigger than he was, I guess. I don't know.
What was he saying?
I was just very dismissive. Yeah, whatever. And
Typical celeb.
Are they all like that?
Kinda.
When, this is what, 97?
No, this would have been. No, this was much later. 2008, 9.
Even then, I was going to say
Eight, nine.
the phones were that size, we were kind of taking them off.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, big phone.
Could you say to those famous people, "Look, I'm the big daddy around here"? If you do, I say.
Well, kind of. I know you'd have to step in. Like we did a big backstage party for Beyonce, and she was all a bit, and her dancers actually, the people who were all a bit mardy. And we were like, listen, this is gonna have to. Let's calm this down. And
She's in the Illuminati, I heard. Allegedly, I have to
Really?
say. Allegedly, she's in the
I
Illuminati.
don't know, maybe
Was Jay-Z there?
No. no, he wasn't.
And was
But,
she like? Are they like all dickheads? Is there one? Was there any even really nice?
I met this guy called Chris Johnson. He was the drummer for Rihanna.
Chris Johnson.
No, you don't know.
Never heard of him.
I met this guy called Chris Johnson. He's the drummer for Rihanna. Met him. He was a golfer, big golfer, and I met him, and he says, "Oh, I'd love to play golf." I said, "Oh, I can fix that up, no problem. Let's come to my place." And we brought him out to play golf, and we stayed good friends. Actually, he's really good. He invited me to concerts, and when I wasn't working, we went to the concert and brought my wife, and we had a great time. But he's really down to earth, cool. He's played golf with him a good few times, and
So how many years did you do that and work during the day?
2 years, 2.5 years, and then I started fighting with my wife, the missus, because I was so tired. And when I started fighting with her, I said, "Right, that's it. I'm giving her up," and I gave it up.
And then just concentrated on.
Then concentrated. I cleared most of the debt out, and it was actually kind of headspace for me as well that I could do something that didn't involve what I was actually doing. It's kind of weird. It was kind of therapy because I could go there and be somebody that I wasn't needing to be.
Take your anger out of people.
Yeah,
How bad was it for you in recession? I mean, I know everyone got hit pretty bad, but
horrific.
for how many years?
Probably 2, 3. The honest truth, and I don't know whether other people feel this, but like it never really leaves you.
Really?
Yeah, because you're always aware of
What can happen?
The fear is there.
the fear is there, and you're always very aware of.
So you be afraid of taking big risks now.
No, I've had to, you see. So, and the business forces you to do that. So you have to step out of that comfort zone, but you do still feel a little bit sort of wary of making sure that you've covered that, you've covered that, you've covered this, you've covered that. And I guess it's learning curves, and it's no different than if you and I, Leo, were making decisions in relation to stock or buying stuff or selling stuff or whatever it might be. You're still all the time programmed to double check. Will it affect this? Will it affect that? So I always feel covered. My grandfather used to say to me, don't spend a lot of money or buy another house until you own your own house, because then you don't have anything at risk. So don't put the family at risk. Always make sure the family is safe.
It's easier said than done now.
It is, but if it's a mantra that's in your brain, the back of your brain, Dave, you can still make the decent. Like I've had to make serious financial decisions in the last kind of 5 to 6 years. But if it's still in the back of your head, you don't make silly, off the cuff. Let's just do this or let's go. It's
a safe bet, isn't it?
It kind of is, yeah. You're all the time covering the bet, aren't you? All the time.
I think you have to. I think if you've never took stupid risks, I know that the last, we'll say the start of the recession in 2008, probably competitors of ours at the time were some of them are now gone.
Recession affect you?
It didn't really. I would have always said if I was to guess, and I'm only saying winging a prayer, guess a figure, we might have dropped 5%. But the only reason we only dropped 5% was we weren't that long trading. So we started in 2005, and we never got too big for our boots. Where guys who were trading 20 years were building massive buildings with big windows in the front, and there's nothing. I mean, what's going to happen? The first thing that's going to go is your building. The building's gone. The banks are after you. Your business is gone. That's it. But we were never there. We were very much the small micro company. So it didn't. I'm not saying it didn't affect us. It did to a point, but
you
not
always
to
in the middle of your company. You always there every day.
Yeah, pretty much. I wouldn't even say I'd love not to be. I mean, I think if it becomes your baby. If it's what you do every day, you don't know anything else. But that's a good and a bad thing. I mean, you'd love to say if I step away, there's people there who can kind of, take the mantle every day. And I'm very, very lucky the people who are there. But that's, a learning curve over the years as well. We've had people who have been good for the business, people who've been bad for the business.
Is finding the right people the hardest thing?
Impossible.
100%.
Borderline impossible. If you have good people, do everything you can to keep them. Our longest serving guy is with me since a year after I started.
Likewise.
But just a good, honest, decent guy. But finding people out there is tough. People's expectations are very different, which is understandable. But it is hard getting people involved.
The problem is if you drive the bus hard, though, it's hard to get people to stay on the bus.
See, you have to be fair as well.
Because no one cares about your business as much as you.
Well, it's
No
just,
one will
it's,
treat it like you.
no, and it's but it's also the like, you know, like we were talking about you having trouble getting people to do things, and you're like, all I wanted to do was work. I just wanted to work. It's not like I'm asking for a whole lot of things here, but your version of working and other people's version of working
It's different.
way different.
Yeah,
And
you're there all the time. Just do it. Stop thinking about it.
just take the name, take the large thing off the thing, put it in a bag and send it out. But people are like, I'll do that tomorrow. I'll do that after lunch. I'll do that maybe in an hour. I've got I got to watch that thing on TV. I've got to blah, 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 whatever. And like I get annoyed about details. I'm anal about exactness and stuff like that. And when people don't see it like you see it, it can be a bit. That's the hardest part. And I know Leo struggles with that.
I struggle with many things. What's my OCD?
Is it?
Yeah.
I'd be OCD, only the letters in the wrong order.
What's the most important thing in your lives?
Family.
Yeah.
Family. 100%. Family, then friends. Without that, you've nothing. The rest doesn't matter. If you think you work your life, make all the money you want, build the best business you want, what good is it if you're 6 foot under? No good. Without family, you've nothing.
I used to be focused on the business and focused on success and focused on, me being at the top of Everest. That was and I would drive through walls to get to it.
What happens when you get to it?
Well, it's only then that you realise that what you were chasing was probably not the most important thing. What the most important thing was the family, like Leo says.
And when you were building your company, and you told me before that you had to work really far away, and like you would have give up a lot of stuff for the company, like time, family and stuff.
Yeah.
If you could go back again, I know we all can't. Hindsight's great foresight. Would you do it again?
The same way? No.
Even if it meant sacrificing where your business is now, been at the top.
No, I would do it differently.
You would?
Yeah, I would, yeah.
Would you?
Yeah, I wouldn't have been so focused on driving it, I think. I'd like to have seen the kids more, like to have been at home more. Like I was on the road, like I'd be travelling 2 times a month.
For long periods.
Yeah. It'd be 5, 6, 7 days, whatever. It was tough going.
What drives you? You don't have any kids.
I have a car.
Does the cars drive you?
Yeah, I know, sorry. That's what I drive. Yeah, we've no kids.
Chauffeur. What drives you, a chauffeur?
Yeah, chauffeur. Myself and Ash are together. What have we now? Coming up on 3 years.
Shout out to Ash. Made me a sandwich today. Lovely. Thank you very much.
It was good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
With that pint of beer.
Yeah.
Don't
tell Vicky. That's
so
out of the bag now.
No, I was driving Vicky. It's okay. There was no one drinking and driving.
But we're lucky. We've no kids. Yeah, just ourselves. 2 big kids. That's kind of it.
Would you like to have kids?
Never been on my agenda, really. I don't know if that's the selfish side of me, but I've just never. I suppose for many things, like whoever you're with over the years, timing wasn't, what it was meant to be, or your choice is you don't want to. But do I regret not having any? No, not at all. Not at all. I'm quite content. When
you started your business, did you plan on getting to where you are? Did you think it'd be as successful?
I don't think so. I think it's when you start it off, it's a means to an end. I mean, it's the whole idea of working for yourself. That's your first achievement, and it doesn't matter what you do. If you sell golf clubs today, or if you sell social media, it doesn't matter what you do as long as you're doing it for yourself. That's what it's all about, and that's really probably to this day what it's remained. But you can guess over the years you'll have years of success. You'll have other years where it's misery. I would have said 3 years into it, sitting in a warehouse at 2 a.m. with your head under a rack going, what in the name of Jesus am I doing, in tears? In my mid-30s going, this is just absolute horseshit. And we've had that. You'll have the good and the bad days. Would you change it? Probably not. But I think you can certainly change what you do, what you sell. If you enjoy working for yourself, it doesn't matter what you do. Whether you sweep the roads or sell cleaning machines, it doesn't matter as long as you're content and happy doing what you're doing.
What do you hate most about work? Your job? Your day-to-day, week-to-week, what do you hate most about it?
Don't get me started.
I'll have to get a fucking list out.
Hold on. Can you put this on pause for about 5 minutes?
we might need a list.
What do I hate?
You don't really hate, though, do you?
I don't really. I think there's days. Don't get me wrong. There's days I hate it. Like anyone hates what they do. I think part of it is you get somewhat complacent in doing the same thing for whatever 17 years. It becomes sort of challenging. But I don't tend to hate it. I think there's a challenge every day. Most of them, if they're your own kind of fuck ups, you can deal with it. You can manage it. If they're out of your hands, they're definitely frustrating. I suppose the hardest thing is managing people's expectation. Silk purse, sow's ear and all that. People want to buy something that's small money and expect it to do the work of a big piece of kit. But generally, I don't overly hate anything every day. Not yet. Give me time.
I think you'd give it up, though, if you started hating it.
Well, but I've always said from day one, the day you hate going to work every day, give it up. Do something different.
Yeah.
I think, like anything, if we don't like what we do tomorrow or we don't sell what we do tomorrow, so go back to recessionary times, which we'll probably hit sooner than we think. If we don't sell cleaning machines tomorrow and we have to sell wheelbarrows, that's what we were saying coming up the car today.
Yeah.
You have to just move and change. It's a survival thing.
Is that a thing with sales? You can change what you're going to sell if you're good at selling. Like you were saying, people buy off people. So
100%.
people like you. But there's an awful lot of people, say like me, say I'm in sales now kind of, but I have a skill, a job. And a lot of people just have a job, they're skilled at one thing. And even if you hate it in the morning, you can't change that to something else that is simple. You can't sell anything. You can only sell that hour's labour that you're trained to do to someone else. You're kind of caught in a little loop of working. And there's so many people like that. You can only do one thing and you have to do it. And then you have to kind of learn to realise that, life isn't this work. My life happens when I get home. My life is how I'm greeted in the evening when I get home. It's how I spend time with my family or my friends. Sometimes you can be in a loop where you can't do anything else other than that. And that's okay. You can maybe try and find somewhere else that you can work or take your time and train to do something else bit by bit. But it's...
Do you enjoy what you do?
I love driving the machines. I didn't realise how much... I knew I loved it. As I learned to love it again. And I love driving them now. That's when I'm at my most happy. I'm really relaxed. I'm listening to podcasts. I'm listening to the radio. I'm really relaxed. And I love doing the podcast. And I used to enjoy doing the social media. But I really didn't realise that social media was so crooked. And it was so fake. And it's demoralising. And when I have young kids and I see them growing up in a country where everything you hear is fake, everything you hear is not real. And when you're dealing with marketing people, because I'm at a size now where I deal with a lot of marketing people.
You're a big lad.
And everyone, look at these tits, sure. But like everyone's so fake. And even when you're talking to people on a one-to-one basis, people are thinking, what can I say that makes me more acceptable to the masses rather than how I actually feel and what I'm actually thinking right now and who I am.
It's probably why, I was I was kind of taken by you a little because social media isn't what you do. What you do is forestry. And then the social thing was just something that happened. If that makes sense.
Just gonna
and I was
scooch over here for the wine.
You're going for the wine. And that's what impressed me more, I think, was that you weren't a social guy trying to be a forester, if that makes sense.
No, I fell into it.
Right.
By accident.
Yeah.
But I didn't think that we lived in a country that didn't have free speech. I really would have never thought that.
I know.
And people they're just getting offended to
That's
get
some
attention.
pint of wine.
Yeah, no.
Holy Jesus.
I am anyone's tonight.
Are you?
Anyone.
You're not mine, that's
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, he has a car that I'd like. So if he said, go on the M3,
You ain't touching me.
just put the tip in. That's great. Just put in the tip.
Just a nudge.
Just a bit. Just a bit.
It's gas when we're saying about how you start a business and if you can sell. And the joke we had coming up the road is if you sell cleaning machines today and they don't sell, you sell wheelbarrows. If you don't sell wheelbarrows, you clean the roads. But if you go back to when I started in 2005, when you started years previous, Derek started back when dinosaurs were still roaming the land.
We did.
you're very good at selling what you do because you're big into social media. So if you think about it, you're selling at the moment.
Yeah.
But I couldn't do what you do. It's not a chance. Couldn't do it because I'm technically disadvantaged. I'm probably technically retarded, and it's not my scene. So I'm not into social media, YouTube, Instagram, whatever it would be. I barely log onto Facebook, and I'm shit at it. So if you think about it, for the next generation, what you're doing is going to be 10 times harder than what we do. We buy a product. You buy a bottle of wine for $5, you sell it for $10. That's how it works. But I couldn't do the crap you do.
Sorry, it's funny you should say that. So, I'd be kind of in Leo's we're the same age, but in Leo's mind, and
You're older.
yeah, but we started doing YouTube.
You did.
Yeah, and my sister's like, we got to do YouTube because it's like the thing to do, and I'm like, I'm not doing YouTube. It's a kids game, blah 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 blah. And we started doing it, and it's like the new website. So if you don't have a YouTube channel, then you might as well not have a website.
Your Instagram's really good. When I
yeah,
left,
but I don't do it.
after I went home from the podcast and I had met went home from the Cannonball and I got to know these
But
guys.
we didn't know who you were. I was like,
such
who
good
the
crack.
fuck is this
And next
guy?
thing I looked at his Instagram page, he's so perfect.
You
He's
said
so
that though. You sent me a
nice.
message and you
I'm
said
like,
you're
it's like a
so
different person.
you're so perfect.
And mine was
a different person, yeah.
Mine was updated about 4 years ago.
yeah, I know.
But
yeah.
we met you because we didn't know who you were,
Mm.
right? And we met you and took your face value, and it wasn't all about Dave Cuddy and Instagram or whatever or the Forester. We just met you because you walked in and you were like, "Hey lads," and we I guess that's one of the things.
That's how you know, because I'm not a forester. You keep calling me forester. That's how you know they didn't know me. I'm a timber relocation operative engineer.
Are you?
Do you not remember you said to me
Love
when
yourself.
he walked in?
If you were a Kit Kat, there'd be a fucking there'd be finger
You
missing
said to
because
me
you'd have eaten yourself.
he was wearing pants that were like one size too tight for him.
Oh, he did. He had a really
Yeah,
nice
yeah,
suit on.
Had I?
You
I did.
loved yourself. You
Bet into
fucking- you walked
The
in.
suit
You came in
Belfast.
with the door. You came in the doors and you opened both doors. That's how you know.
That was in Belfast.
Yeah.
I was looking really well that night.
You were
No,
licking
you had a
yourself.
suit
coming
on. Like,
I was
where were you
looking
going? You're like,
really
you
well,
weren't
and
getting
you were
wet.
trying to say you weren't my friend. I knew you loved me.
No, but I wasn't your friend then.
No, you did. You loved me.
He was
I did.
foaming at the mouth.
I
did.
He drooled again.
I did.
He
I
was
did.
there. That's a lovely fella.
I didn't. You were fucking. And all you had to do, he had a phone on and you were fucking.
Do you not see him walking in behind you? Drooling.
Oh yeah,
I was, yeah.
I knew it.
I was, yeah. Licking your ear and everything when you want to watch
Yeah,
it.
He said, "You're a bad boy for making daddy want you."
but it was funny when
No, but the point is we didn't know you. So
Yeah.
we got to know you because we didn't know you, if that makes sense.
Mm.
And we allowed you into our group.
I
Allowed you
entered
to
it
become part of it.
willingly.
In your three-piece suit.
Yeah,
You
Like
went.
you're
You
getting
I
married.
was only one.
You
night.
entered it
One
forcefully.
night I was wearing a three-piece suit.
The
I was never
fucking
there before. I was
stadia.
told that you had to dress up.
You
on
came
the
in and
ball.
you had to open the two doors. That's when
And do you know I
know.
bought that suit especially for that.
We actually
Did
said
you?
when you
Yeah.
walked in, here's Snuggles' accountant coming in the fucking room.
Yeah,
I had,
that's what
I had
said.
lost weight and my other suits didn't fit me. And then I went, I may buy a suit because I was told you have to wear a suit. It's a ball in Belfast, all fancy. That's what I was told. So I went.
I
I
did
rocked
like a
in.
I didn't get that
Hey,
memo.
I did like a pikey after being raped.
I rocked in. I rocked into the only one nearly wearing a suit.
You were doing one
I
wearing the
know.
suit.
We kind of took pity on you. to
Yeah,
be
you
fair.
did. In fairness, but I didn't care because I love myself.
You do. Kit Kat.
That was cool. When did you start doing the cannonball?
Oh Jesus! I think it was around 2014. I got into it through Dermot and Martin. They did
Dermot
it.
Martin, who?
Dermot Duxie Dermot,
I know.
truck driver.
No one else here does.
Yeah, but we'd have to.
I was like talking to Dermot yesterday. He
Can
had
we-
the
What are we talking to Dermot about?
Subaru up at something in Portlaoise last night.
Evo's versus Subaru or something.
Yeah, Evo versus Subaru in the plaza in
Did you
Portlaoise.
go up?
No, I couldn't. The kids were tired, and I can't actually say to Vicky whenever I want, "Hey, you mind the kids there? I'm going over to talk to one of my friends. You
Why
put them
not?
all to bed." And
What's wrong with that?
no, it doesn't work. Doesn't work. Ask him. He knows these kids. You
Absolutely.
can't just walk outside the door. You can do whatever the fuck you want.
I'm not saying a word.
Yeah, I
I
can't.
can't really.
I
I
can't.
had to book this in weeks ago, though.
Yeah, you did actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Did you
Vicky, I told Vicky, look, this is work. As I drink my pint of wine,
I've never seen a pint of wine like it.
Oh
Jesus
my
Christ.
God.
we had a drink in the hotel before we came out, and I'm not the best drinker, you know.
It tells.
Yeah, I know. I know. Anyway,
It's
2014.
going to be a good night.
Yeah, tell him
Derek got you in, or
No,
Dermot
no.
got you into it.
Dermot did it with Marty O'Malloy before that in their Mustang. And just came back buzzing, telling us what a wonderful event it was, and it was kind of crazy.
And you were probably thinking, fun knobs.
Yeah. Do you know what it was?
You probably need to put. Does everyone know what Cannonball is?
No, I wouldn't think they do.
You should probably tell them what it is, Leo.
Go,
You may as well tell them.
Leo is actually a registered legend of the Cannonball. Got a prize and everything.
Correct.
Legend.
Yeah.
Legend. Perspective.
And I was
legend.
there.
Yeah.
We were there.
Got a
We
trophy.
were there. We
Got-
were there.
When he got the trophy.
Where?
Remember he cried. This is all
He did.
legend.
It's emotional.
Yeah.
I stood on the stage, myself and Sandra Bullock, and we cried.
Crying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me and Dave were holding hands.
I was
Yeah.
tickling.
Whimpering like a bitch.
Anyway, we started.
No, it was a big deal. It was a big deal because I think probably you need to tell people what it is first.
Down to me.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So biggest organised supercar event in Europe. Definitely the first, the original one. Run by a guy called Alan Bannon. Since I think 2009. I may have that wrong, but we'll go 2009. So just a wonderful event full of crazy supercars, safe driving, and raising money for various charities every year. So
it was the Hope Foundation when I don't know, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think it was. I was sober, so the fact I was sober, I wouldn't remember which one it was. We'll go for Hope. It was Hope.
But they raised a lot of money for it, in fairness.
They did, but I think at this stage it's definitely over €1 million over definitely 10 years plus. And just a good kind of good event, good to get out. Fortunate to have a car that goes in it, which is the biggest thing. But started in 14 with Dermot got me into it, and I've kind of done it every year since. Done most of the annual events they have as well. They have a lot of kind of trips to Scotland, the Grand Highlands event, the Lions tour, or European trip, and again, same bunch of people, same friends you've kind of grown to love over the years. Same mindset with people, just a love of cars, love of fun, and haven't stopped doing it ever since.
Were you always into cars?
Always into cars. I think like anything. I suppose even like Derek, as kids, you have your small car, you put all your money into. If you look back now, it was probably like a horror show, but at the time you thought it was fantastic. And then as the years go on, if you're fortunate or lucky enough to have something that you can do it in, I'm not saying all the better, but it's definitely it's that bit of luck that gets you to that point where you can do it. But yeah, certainly cars as a kid. I would say if you take me as a kid, I was the guy with the rotavator with my hand spark plug pulling the cord, and then realizing that it shocks the shite out of you. We all did the stupid things as kids. But if it had an engine, and my folks would say that if it had an engine, I was interested.
What was your first car?
Oh Christ!
Here we go. Come on, Leo.
It's bad. The first one I bought myself.
Yeah.
No. What was the first one you were driving?
First one I drove was I drove my dad's 91K 152 Mitsubishi Lancer.
The Lancer, baby.
Yeah,
remember
loved it. Was very lucky to get on his insurance, and
Fan or a car guy?
he was, yeah, definitely. When we were younger, he was. So I suppose back then, like money wasn't what it is now. It was very, very different. Back in '91, buying his first brand new car and let you drive it, and you thought you were great. And over the years and afterwards, he had like MX-5s. Came home with an MR2 turbo, and I
Your
loved
dad
having.
had an MX-5, or you?
And my dad did. Yeah, he bought an MX-5. He did an MR2 turbo one time when there's not a chance I get insured on it. And you're kind of looking, going, it's not fair. You're too old for it, but I should have that, but I can't afford to insure it. So yeah, the whole balance is wrong.
That was a cool car back then.
It was a cool car.
Real cool. What was your first car you bought?
First car I bought was a BMW 318i.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What year?
It was an 89.
E30.
I bought it I think I bought it around 95, 96. So even then, like 96, you thought.
That was your first car.
It's my first car.
That's a cool first car.
Oh, you had this aerial on the back. It was a globe.
Oh, yeah, I remember that actually.
What was that about?
It just been a ponce. Doesn't been a dickhead.
Did you get that in a car shop?
It was actually a phone. No, it was a phone aerial.
Just to be clear,
It was a phone aerial. Yeah, it was
a phone aerial, and it was a
like,
globe.
if you think about it, what an idiot at what was I in 96 23. You know, stick a car phone in the car. It was probably costing more
We
for
had
the
them.
phone every month.
I had them as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Do the
stupid.
car phone?
Oh yeah,
Stupid.
the big one that
Pods.
used to go in with
Yeah,
the,
yeah, I
with the
remember.
handle and yeah, we had that.
088
Yeah,
610
yeah,
612.
yeah. That was us.
The only reason it was in the car was the only battery that would power it was a car battery. It's that bad.
That's a fact. Yeah, you lifted out, it was like fucking
Yeah.
4 pounds of weight.
Remember the big brick?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we had those.
big
Like an
Motorola.
army thing.
We had those.
Yeah.
We used to have this phone thing, didn't we? We used to be like, get a phone. Oh yeah, get this new phone. Flip phone.
But you think back then, like you paid hundreds for a phone. It
Hundreds.
cost you a fortune to use it.
ESAT Digiphone, remember?
Yeah.
I remember the first time we figured out you could do text messages.
SMS.
I remember sitting in the machine one day and I had a phone and next thing this message came in and I pressed it. One message received.
You're a
I just
cock.
pressed it and it said gay. And it was from my friend Mick or someone. I was there. What is this sorcery?
Sorry, which Mick? Can you
Sorcery.
name him?
Just my name, my
Sorcery.
friend,
Just
my
Mick.
friend. And we just everything was just firing abuse at each other all the time.
At 30p a minute or 30p a text.
Yeah.
It was mental money.
Did you ever have one of the? Do you remember the
Eh.
daft Air? Was it Aircell AirPage pager things?
No,
You'd see some.
No, we didn't have those.
You don't tell me you had.
No, I
one.
didn't. But I'm just
You
saying,
did, you like it, did.
back in the mid 90s,
You
and you'll have
motherfucker.
Drug
no, you'll have some bellend walking down Grafton Street with a pager. Why do you have a pager? No one's going to fucking page you. No one's going to text you.
Didn't have a pager.
We didn't have a pager.
I'd say you did.
I was very rarely.
No, I
in
didn't.
toilet
I did.
back
Do you know
then.
what?
I didn't. I did tell the truth if I did.
I'd say he couldn't have a pager for when he was in the O2 fingering people.
No, I didn't.
Then it
I
might be
didn't.
knocked off him.
Didn't have a pager. Didn't have a pager. Didn't have a pager. I had a microphone in my ear. Sorry, excuse me. 1 second. Security.
Did you do that deliberately?
Did you say things like toot 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 toot?
No, I used to say under, over, under.
Had you a call sign?
No.
Cock.
I often tell people that if I had a call sign,
What would it be?
Tripod Cuddy.
Why?
What do you think?
Oh Jesus Christ!
Security.
So
security.
you had a 318 for your. You had a 318 for your first car. That's a fairly good first car now.
Yeah.
Do you know what it was? I bought it in the north and it didn't cost me a fortune. But if you remember, it was in the time. Who were they? Those robbing bastards. Quinn Insurance. Quinn Insurance had just set up and they quoted me for insurance. But they obviously got it wrong. They shouldn't have insured me in the car. So the only reason I actually went and bought it was
Because you get insurance.
I'll get insured. And when I went to pay the insurance, they told me they wouldn't cover it. But ultimately they did. But yeah, that's the only reason I probably bought it in the end.
Oh.
Army green in colour.
Army Green.
Army green, yeah. It was
Yeah, I had green as well.
yours is a different grade though.
You had a
Yours is
318 as well.
325.
That was your first car.
No, my first car was
Starlet, huh?
no, I just started second.
Oh
I had
yeah,
that,
the
Escort.
Ford.
The Escort,
Yeah.
yeah.
You wrapped it on the
Wrapped it
edge
around the
of-
ramp post and the dual carriageway, yeah.
Jeez, you were lucky not to be killed.
It was,
Yes.
yeah.
Aim and a handbrake.
Jeez.
In the wet.
Were you trying to show off to some young one?
No, I wasn't actually. I was going
mad.
I was going to I think I was
Was.
going to a dentist appointment in Ace something and I
No, is that what they're calling it now?
hit the skids. Hit the water, hit aquaplaned across the middle of the thing and hit the land. Yeah.
Oh,
And
he
But-
pulled it too.
Wrote-
How big was it?
But
So
that big
he pulled it
handbrake
down my arse.
wrote
The big
that off.
handbrake arc on the dual car.
wrote that off. Wrote that off. That was dead in the water. And then I got to start it. And then I crashed to start it racing one night. Remember that?
Well, you were into
I
racing,
wasn't there.
weren't you?
With Molly, with Malloy.
You crashed it and you got it back and then crashed it again within about 2 weeks, was it?
That's right. Yeah, I did a Dukes of Hazzard out into the hedge.
You were a race car driver, were you?
My dad was a race car driver.
And you used to race cars then?
A little bit, yeah.
On the back roads, Straven.
No, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Sorry, rumor has it.
Closed roads only.
Rumor has it. Rumor
Yeah.
has it.
Closed roads only.
Racetracks only.
And you drifted apart then when you got older, didn't you?
Yeah, we kind of did. Well, I was really busy with work, and I had a mission, and I was and to be fair, I was driving it hard, and I travelled a lot and worked a lot. So
And you were doing the same.
He ignored me. It's fine.
You're some
no, I
cunt.
didn't ignore you.
No, you got
No, I
your
didn't, I
wife
didn't, I
and
didn't.
you got your kids and you were like, fuck Leo.
No, I didn't.
Leo will
Actually.
be
Yeah, it
alright.
wasn't.
These
I- no,
3
do you know what, though?
Army
I-
Green.
I tell
He
you
was
what.
there with his green car sitting crying into his cornflakes.
Yeah, I was.
Were you living at home?
Yeah, I was at home, yeah.
How long did you live at home?
Oh, I was at
last
home
year?
to... Yeah. No, I moved out. It was about 2 years ago. What? No, I'm joking.
I was going to say, you cunt going to the Cannonball
Yeah.
in 100k
Living
plus
at home.
cars, living with his mother. and
Exactly.
father.
No,
Man, I'll be home.
yeah.
Actually, I'll tell a funny story. We were on the Cannonball, and we're like driving normal-ish. And
Within the speed limit.
we're driving around. Next thing is Leo says, we need to make a pit stop. And I'm going, what? You need to make a pit stop. And I'm in the car going, Jesus, okay. And I love detail, and I'm watching the roads, and I'm watching the plan and where we're going and what we're doing and all that. And he goes, we need to make a detour. What do you mean you need to make a detour? What do you mean make a detour? Just trust me. And he literally takes a left and there's loads. You know what it's like. All the people lining the streets. He suddenly takes this left in the middle of a street, in the middle of the town, and it's getting people out of the way. I'm going, get out of the way, get out of the way, get out of the way. And we turn left, and we're in the R8 up the road. And I'm going, where are we going? What are we doing? To go meet me mum.
Really?
Yeah.
I swear to God.
100%.
And I know his mother forever. And so I was like, class. So we belting down these roads. He's on the phone. Mom, where are you? I'm coming in there, such and
That's
such
cool.
road. And the next is we passed her. We passed her on the road.
We passed her.
And he's like, "Arr!" in the middle of this road. Pulled up, get out.
The crowd are laughing, thinking we've gone the wrong way.
Yeah, you've gone
And
the
then
wrong
next year
way.
when you come back going,
You've gone the wrong.
Oh.
Because he breaks in the middle of this crowd. There's 100 people. He's like, get out of the way. We're going that road.
Name your favourite card that you've owned.
Jeez.
That I've owned. Oh, C63, top of the list. Definitely top of the list. We'll try and kill you every day. Probably M5. Probably M5, definitely.
Rather that than the R8
Yeah.
and the N3
Uh,
and the Porsche.
Porsche won't do it for you.
Did your
No.
mum and dad obviously got to see you been successful?
Yes.
Were they proud?
Still are, yeah. Mum would be if you get my mum to look at the car, she go, "That's pretty cool. That's a car. It's red." She doesn't care, but she does get the fun that goes with it. So I think every cannonball I've been on, she'll come out to see us, and we'll always stop and say, "Oh, do you want to get a picture?" And she loves that kind of the fun side of it.
What age is your mum?
She will be, what will she be this year? She'll be 70, 78.
And your
78.
dad has passed.
Dad passed in 15.
He got to see. You had fun with him and stuff, didn't you?
Yeah, we did the first cannonball in 14. He passed away in 15, so he had just come out of the hospital the day we met him. Myself and Dermot and Martin pulled up to see him, and he was at the side of the road. I was dressed as Mrs. Brown. So to see your son when you've come out of hospital after being in there for weeks, to see your son dressed as Mr. Brown, it's going to be a bit of a culture shock. But all he could do was laugh.
Must have been
And-
cool when he was into cars when he was younger, and then
Yeah, because we were sitting around he when we were growing up, he loved his cars and kind of bought funny things like his Emerald Turbo. And when I bought the C63 in 14, he came out with me in Christmas time. And I'd say I hadn't got to 20 miles an hour, and he was just fearful of it. And it was, that was kind of tough because it was the big change from where he was years ago. If it was 20 years previous, he'd be gone down the road like a stab badger.
yeah.
But yeah, it's great, and it's great he got to see it. It's great mum gets to see it. And I think that's the fun part of it. It just gives them a bit of a giggle as well. That life is tough enough. You need some outlet. You need some bit of fun.
By the way, he is the first guy to answer when the call goes out that there's a young guy that's not very well and loves cars, or there's somebody that's not doing well that needs a bit of a lift.
Yeah, I've noticed that about you. You act like you're a real prick, but you're not.
He's first on the list.
It's funny. It's how I met Ash. I did a thing. I can't remember back in 19, but it was a young guy who has since passed, and just someone asked, is there a car or two that could pop down? I think they wanted a particular brand. And we didn't have it, but we knew someone who did, and fair play to him. He turned up, they came down, they really looked after the guy. But it was actually a comment in Facebook in the same thread that someone we both knew. Ash did some voluntary work and still does for Make-A-Wish. And this comment was in the same thread, and it just happened to say to me, "Oh, you do know that's such and such," and that's actually how we started talking.
There you go.
That's
There you
great
go.
of you.
So it brought you together.
It brought us together.
So being a good guy is the way to go.
Well, she may want to kill me in a good day, but at the time,
And Derek, are your parents still alive?
Yeah, both my parents and my grandmother.
Really?
Yeah, I have a 96-year-old grandmother
Jesus.
living at home
Living in your home?
in my mum and dad's house.
And your father's working every day.
My dad's a work animal. And in fairness, Leo knows
pretty much.
Leo knows him well. And yeah, so my mum and dad worked in the business. My mum worked in the business until about 5 years ago, and she was like front of house, looking after all the people and the bookings and scheduling and logistics. And my dad then is what's known as a master craftsman, so he has almost like a master's degree in golf club making. So the building of the clubs will be he's recognised as being one of the best in the world at the art of building clubs, and he holds a Meister award from Japan, which is one of the highest awards ever to be given to club makers. He's the only Westerner to have a Meister.
Only
award.
Westerner.
Yeah, so it's a thing that's done in Japan, and so we went to Japan 5 years ago, and he was kind of made a Meister, which is the master of club making.
That's a bit mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, most Irish people we know is shysters, but not a Meister.
Yeah,
Shyster.
Meister.
Yeah, so he's a Meister. So it's a mastery of his craft. So he's one of the best in the world at what he does, yeah. And then, yeah.
But he loves it.
My dad's really into it, yeah. And in fairness, in 2010, we were voted as the best in the world at what we do.
You were.
So we were world champions, yeah.
How did that feel?
Myself and my dad. Yeah, really, quite interesting, yeah. I was the first ever
You
Irish.
just get a phone call.
Yeah, it was a competition that was run among my peers.
Who's your peers?
All the people that are in the business that I'm in,
So
all
people
around
that
the world. There's about 6 or 7,000 people in our kind of world, if that makes sense. And
they vote for each other.
They voted for everybody, and they voted me as the best in 2010. Yeah.
So did you go home that day and think, "Fuck, I'm the best now"?
I was the first world champion in golf that was Irish.
Were you happy?
I was, yeah. It was one of those things where it all kind of came quite quickly.
Do you have a little bank?
Yeah. And no, it was good. It was good because there was these were the milestones I wanted to hit in my career. I wanted to hit these milestones of being the best, working with the best, being recognised as the best. And it was one of those things that I was.
What's your milestones now?
Yeah, it's tough because when you that's one of the things that happens when you hit all the things you wanted to do and all the places you want to go, and where do you go? And right now it's about. So I think for me, the next stage for me will be, probably not slowing down a little, but being a little bit more niche and working with the people I like working with. It's like when you reached out to me and said, "Would you like to come on the Call podcast?" I was like, "Yeah," because I like Dave. But if I didn't like you, I'd be like, "No interest."
I like that about you. You're very straight. What do you look forward to? What's your thing?
Breathing the following morning.
Is that it?
Skip the following.
Do you have that 10-year plan, 5-year plan? Do you ever think, you know what? Fuck it. I have enough. Or I want to try something else.
Part of me says I'd love to try something else. It's funny when Derek says, all these different kind of milestones and steps and things he wanted to achieve. I don't think I've ever said in my 17 years of doing it, I want to achieve something. Because if you think of what we do, you can't make cleaning sexy. Like, no one ever rang me up and said, I want to buy a Hoover that's going to suck the knob off me. I want to buy a Hoover.
Dave may now
ask for that Hoover.
So it's very, very hard to make our industry interesting. It's pretty much, I'll buy something that has a function that's going to be it. Where yours is probably a lot more interaction. It's a big build up to your sale. Mine is very simple. It's grey, it's got a cord, and it sucks. That's how it works.
Yeah, we're experiential, so we're about creating the experience, and then people take the golf clubs as a byproduct of what we produce. So ours is all experiential.
You would know all the golfers coming up. Would you be paying attention to that? And
very much so.
And would you know a good golfer when they're really young?
Yeah,
just by looking at them. Dave Tam, they're going to get something.
Yeah, so way back, Seamus Power is the current big story in Irish golf.
Shout out to Seamus Power.
Yeah, big Seamus.
Story, Seamus.
Yeah, but he was 14 when I met him first, and I liked the character more than I liked the golfer. He was very. I just liked the way he was, the way about him. But he was very talented, and I met him the same time as I met Rory McIlroy. So I met Rory McIlroy the same day. Rory McIlroy was 12.
Is he a golfer?
Yeah, funny enough.
I thought he was a plumber.
Yeah, exactly. But I met Seamus the same day, and you knew that Rory was going to be huge. He was going to be brilliant because at the time he was brilliant. But Seamus, I loved the character of him. He was raw. He was from West Waterford. It was like the middle of December. He had like a pair of chinos and a t-shirt on. Lads were all in woolen hats and stuff. He was out there in a t-shirt lashing balls over. And he was just raw. He was just raw talent hitting balls, young fella. And his clubs were all over the place. And we sponsored his golf clubs when he was 14 because his dad, Ned, at the time just didn't know anything about golf. And he said, I don't know what the hell it is. So I said, look, we'll look after it. And we looked after it. And we've been looking after him ever since. And now he's 40th in the world.
40th?
40th, yeah.
Wow.
And he's one of the nicest fellas you'll ever meet in your life. Ever. So I recognise the character before I recognise the golfer. And I really, really like the character. I like the kind of guy he was, even when he was young.
Would you ever be talking to golfers that have the skill and then after knowing them think just psychologically they won't be able to do it?
100%.
Because I think all those games and them sports where it's just one person, where everything's relying on you, like it has to be your head that gets in the way.
100%. And same with footballers or anyone in sport at high level. It's the person that gets in the way of the end result. It's never the skill or the ability. It's the belief and the way that they are. And you can see it in my lot.
That's probably why I gave up football with this kind of belly.
You were never
I just
into football.
I just didn't believe in
Never.
Did you
myself.
ever play sport?
No, crap. I played rugby as a kid in school. And
Played
then
badminton.
when you realise that your own team beat the shit out of you, it's time to give it up. There's no point.
You were good at badminton.
I was,
remember
yeah.
that?
They like kind of beating a cock around a court.
Is that what that is? That's the little shuttlecock?
Yeah, little cock.
How do you get into that?
Don't know what it was. I think it was kind of the easy way to say, I'm going to do PE, and if I take up a sport in school, badminton wasn't too
It
bad.
must have been a fancy school you went to with badminton.
It was,
wasn't
yeah,
really.
very fancy.
Was
Where did you go to school?
it? Solutions in Selbridge.
It wasn't
It
fancy.
wasn't fancy.
Badminton.
Badminton.
Yeah, but you were living in the middle of
On the
nowhere.
mountain. But still badminton.
You had a hurley. I mean, the hurley was the most universal.
I think
sport in the
actually
world.
to back up on that, one of the things in school was we had a really good
Wank.
PE teacher.
Oh.
Like he
It was.
there was loads of sports. There was loads of sports. You could play anything, whatever you wanted, and there was loads of experiences in different sports, and there was, everything from normal fitness to football to badminton to tennis to whatever. And they brought out loads of different sports for the kids to have a go of.
And chess.
And chess, yeah.
You didn't play chess in school.
I played chess in school.
Did you?
No, I did not. Are you mad?
So I went to school in Straffan, National School in Straffan, and the head teacher was a guy called Jack Hennigan, and he was big into chess. So there was a chess class within the school curriculum. So you chess for
Posh, isn't it?
you chess.
So
No, it's just because that's what he was into.
Straffan became posh.
No, but they had national champions in chess right throughout all the time because the teacher.
So you
would
good at
teach-
chess?
No, I was never that good at chess. But I learned how to play, so I know how to play.
I can play
Badly.
drafts. And card games, I can only play Snap.
I played Tiddlywinks
I play
before.
Snap. I'm very good
Huh?
at Snap.
Did you ever play Tiddlywinks? Where you kind of flick the...
No. No, I never
It's
played
like flicking the bean. It's like just flicking a little...
No. I'm not good at any of them things.
Sideswipe.
Although I'm trying to bring back finger.
Are you?
Years. It's working.
Class. Is it?
Yeah.
Are you bringing it back?
Has to happen.
Well, all I'm saying is, right, I was trying to bring it back last year, as you seen at the Cannonball. I was sticking that sticker on Ferraris and
Quality event.
Porsches and stuff. And then on 2FM, they were talking about it about 2 or 3 weeks ago, as if it's the new thing. No, sorry,
did-
Jennifer Zamblirelli, right? I was bringing that back a year and a half ago.
Fact.
Did it ever go away, though? Like, was it always there, but the
No,
whole...
it went away.
The whole glamour of it.
No, lads got lazy.
I like
Lads got lazy.
I like the fact that it went away because lads got lazy.
Lads got lazy. You know, they didn't know that, the point-to-point system. Loads of
Point to
people
point.
getting
Whoa, whoa,
pregnant.
whoa. Is this a horse?
Back up. Point
Were you
to point.
fingering a
What's
horse?
that about now?
Yeah. Like, when I was younger, I always thought you had, like in America, they had first base, second base. Do you know the way you then full on?
Okay.
So you had, like, first base, you give it on kissy. Right? Second base,
that was actually
you give
scary.
the little booby touchy-wutchy.
Right.
And then you had third base.
And third base was okay.
Yeah.
One or two.
It depends. Everyone's different. But it was an easier time. Not as many people were getting stuffed.
Jesus.
You can't get people stuffed with the socializing fingers.
When you say stuffed,
Pregnant.
that's what I thought you meant.
It's safe for bear.
Absolutely.
No, straight in now.
I'm
no
glad
kiss.
now that I know what third base is.
Come here. So we using the hand gestures, we had 1 or 2 fingers. Did you ever have a 3 one?
3 fingers.
Yeah.
Are we talking about myself or in someone else?
In someone else?
No,
No, not in yourself.
I can tell you a story about a suppository.
Go on, Dennis.
Go on then.
Right, I probably told this before, but I had piles once. I was on
Piles.
this. I got piles.
Okay.
Asteroid
know.
piles or bad piles?
Oh, it was bad. I didn't know what was wrong with me. I went to go to the toilet one day, and the pain in my hole. Pain in my hole was just shocking.
You keep saying to me though, every time I talk to you, say I have a pen in my hole with this. I don't know what that means.
I don't know.
The pain in your
I had an
balls, you're
unbelievable
yeah.
pain in my hole, and I had a shower, and I said to Vicky, Vicky, you may come up here. I have there's something fucking wrong with my arse. I don't know what it is. There's something up with me hole.
Poor Vicky.
Did you
So-
touch your toes?
I cocked up, showed her, and she goes, "You've got piles." And
She
I was
knew.
there. You know,
That's visible.
she works in the medical profession. She knows what piles look like.
Okay.
And I was there. How? I'm so young.
You thought it was an old thing.
Yeah, I thought it was an old thing.
They must have been grapes, no
So
piles.
I went to the doctor, and he goes, "Oh, you have piles.
It's like-
you know,
it's like a vineyard."
Here you go. Get the suppositories. You use them." So I never used suppositories before. So they come home. They look like a little missile. You know, they're like a little missile of like in a rocket ship or something.
Yeah.
Like,
I
remember
get it.
Flash Gordon ship years ago, without the fins.
How big was
like
the
a little
suppository?
bulbous at the top,
It's like a little
about an
bullet.
inch.
Like a bullet.
like a bullet, but bigger at the top.
Okay.
Yeah. So I took it out, and I was reading the instructions. And said you shove it up your arse.
Right.
Right, so I never did that before. I wasn't really 100% sure where my finger goes to be on my arse. I've never really, I don't finger my arse on a daily basis, so I don't know.
Did you wear gloves?
No. I didn't bother me hole.
It didn't bother you at all.
So I got up, right?
Clearly.
I got up. Right, no. I'll show you what I done.
No, don't show me what you done.
I'll
I
show
don't
you.
need to know.
No, we're friends, right? So I got up. I'm in the camera. Anyway.
I hope you
so
still.
I got on toilet like
Oh,
this.
the gene just stayed on.
I got on toilet like this. Where's the camera?
What are you doing?
I'll show you. So I go up in the camera like this.
He's undoing his belt.
So I'm on toilet, and I get the yolk,
Yeah.
and I take it out, and I'm searching for my asshole,
Okay.
and then I start shoving it in.
Why are you looking at me like
Hold on,
that?
just keep eye contact.
He's actually he's licking his lips.
Jesus.
Sorry, just keep eye contact with me while I show you.
I can't, David. It's very
So
disturbing.
I start shoving it in.
I know I can't.
And I'm pushing it in, and it's not coming up. It's going to fall out. If I let go, it's going to fall out.
His eyes are watering.
And then I push it in, next to my finger, touching my asshole. And it's still going to come out. If I let go my finger,
Right.
it's going to come out.
Okay.
Did you
So I
clench?
push in
Right.
more. So I add force. My fingernails in now at this stage.
With
My
no-
ass-
with no
keep
gloves.
eye contact.
This is a little
Keep
bit
eye
too
contact.
detailed. I can't
Keep
look
eye
at you.
contact.
It's like some sort of a
And
strange.
then all of a sudden, and I didn't expect it, my asshole goes, and sucks it up.
And then you realise you had no nail
And
brush
it
in the
was
bathroom.
gone.
Like the cash
gone.
machine in Tesco.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
And it was, I didn't know my body would do that.
Did you feel violated?
No, I just said, wow, I didn't know my ass could suck something up like that. And then you
Not
have
the
that-
first
you
time
have
you
that
said
little,
that.
You have that little tight feeling in your asshole. Do you know after you have a really satisfying poop?
I do that. That's a
You know,
high
it gets all
five.
tight.
Personal high
Yeah,
five.
you have to relax for a while. So that was my experience with pilots. So after that, I started drinking loads of water.
Did it help?
Yeah.
And did you bathe your bottom?
And I stopped pooing for a long time.
You just gave
What,
up
you went
pooing.
for a long time.
Do you know, I used to have this habit. I'd come home in the evening, and that's when I'd go looking on Done Deal for stuff I couldn't afford.
Shit yourself.
I come home and I when you work in the forest, you poop in the wood if you have to, but if you can at all, especially during the summer, try not to poop in the wood.
You don't like pooping in the wood.
Not in the summer.
What's the summer got to do with it?
Flies.
Oh,
It'd be barely out your arse and it'd be all over the place.
Right.
I have a bad question.
Go ahead.
Did you ever poop in the woods, forget where it was?
And step in it.
Yeah,
No. Yeah, always covered over.
that
Give
would
it a
be
kick over.
like a horror show.
When we were younger than I am today, like we used to go out every 23rd, me and the lads.
Every
Go-
23rd.
23rd December. So the day before Christmas Eve, we'd all go out on the beer. Big day on the beer. The whole day. And we used to do this thing every year where every time we piss, no matter what pub, and no matter how long in the night it got, the trousers down to the ankles and in the pants. So we'd go into the urinals, and we'd even be over in Portlaoise, like, pack pub, 23rd. people are out with the jumpers and,
Yeah.
businesses shutting down, they're all out and just down to the trousers. And just people come in, there'll be 3 of us standing at the urinals, just pissing there with our fucking
I know.
arses out.
Ours hanging out.
Yeah.
I want to go with him on the 23rd.
It
I
was
don't.
fun. But we used to do that all the time, and now no one does because everyone has kids and everyone's busy and
Just too old.
yeah,
Too old.
you're too old.
I'd still do that.
And my ass is hairy.
Would you go? Everyone's arse is hairy when they get older.
I think mine's sagging now.
I
I have a belly.
I'm an unhairy guy.
Haven't noticed.
I have very little hair.
Me too.
I don't need to see. Will you have a bit? Leo.
Oh, it's good.
I don't need to see. Leo?
When it's starting to go grey, you're in trouble.
Oh, yeah.
What age are you, Leo?
48 stone. Sorry, 48.
48.
I'm 48.
Derek?
You're older than me. You're older than me. Go on. Tell us.
I'm 49.
Are you 49?
Well, in July.
He does look good for a 49-year-old, doesn't
Thanks, Dave.
he? Do you dye your hair?
No.
Lies.
No. I
Barkeys.
don't. I don't.
You do. Go on.
No, I don't.
Tell the
No,
truth.
no, I don't. I
You're
honestly got truth. And I wouldn't lie. I have no reason to.
Do you shave your pubes?
No.
Do you have a small trim? Have you no
No.
pubes?
I heard that people, when they earn more than a couple of million every year, shave their pubes. They have to. The bank manager tells them.
Leo.
Leo.
Oh, balls are cute.
Is it?
Leo does.
You know, when you open a certain account, that they just give you one of those shavers.
Weed whackers.
Yeah.
Is it like the John Bishop thing? Do you remember the joke he did when he thought he wanted to make it look a whole lot bigger? And his wife was on holiday, so she came back and he decided he was going to trim the whole thing. She walked in and he took the robe and she just went, looks like a chicken. So I don't think I'll do too much.
Tell me this.
Tell us.
What do you see yourself doing in 10 years? Like 49, you're going to be 59.
That's a great question. Go on.
Never a
Leo.
plan. I think like anything else.
You have to have some plan.
There's
You must
no
think
plan.
sometimes.
You would love to say, I don't mean retire. You'd love to spend more time at home. We love being at home. But yeah, I've no plan in what I want to do. Not a clue. But would you want life to be easier? Yeah. I don't think in 17 years, if it's your own train set, you play with it the way you want. That's the way it works. So whether it's, you don't work an 8-hour day, you'll always work, whether it's a full day, travel at night, do something, load a truck, drive a van. It doesn't matter. I mean, I'm not a prima donna and never will be. But at some point you have to realize that you're doing it 17 years, you're not going to get younger. And that's the thing. So what I want to do, not a clue, but definitely something that makes life a bit easier. Because there's no point working your arse off and then
Derek, when you
realizing.
finish wanking, what do you...
Was he actually touching his
Yeah,
balls?
he's touching his balls.
Listen.
I can smell it from here. There's no soap
I was
there.
tucking in my shirt, boys. Relax.
Yeah, right. Yeah, whatever. 10 years.
The veranda over the toy shop.
I think one of the things with my industry, you can keep doing what I'm doing for a long, long time because it's not necessarily hard on you in terms of the work itself.
No, I
Because- no, it's not. It's not difficult. The complexity is that technology is moving on. So eventually, I'd say the job that I do will be done by video or computers or 3D analysis or some sort of VR style application. So for me, I guess I'm going to enjoy. Like my lads are older now, so my eldest boy nearly 18, my other son's nearly 15, so nearly 16. So like they're moving on, so we'll be supporting them as best we can. And I'm looking forward to spending more time with my Mrs. Claire, to be honest, because like we love spending time together. Like it's just it's phenomenal how much we enjoy spending time together.
She must be very patient, is she?
She is, and like I would often I can remember coming home like on a Friday and saying to Claire, I'm going to America on Saturday, like tomorrow. And I don't know when I'll be back. And she'd be like, fine, no problem.
2 years later.
Yeah,
It didn't work out. I came home.
But it would be like that, or I might say I might not come home from work till 9 o'clock at night, and because I was so,
Focused in what you were doing.
focused in what I'm doing, and I get really into it, so I get quite focused, and so I wouldn't even think the tech turned to be 9 o'clock, and I'd be rolling in. She's like,
Do you pay attention to society as a whole and how it's going, and the difference in how people interact with each other in the last 10, 15 years?
no.
Do you deliberately shelter yourself from it, or are you just too busy?
Probably a bit of both.
Would you notice the change? You would notice it though with kids.
100%. Yeah. And it's worrying, because you can see that it's so different. And certainly in the world that we grew up in, like collective we, I mean you as well, because you're in similar-ish age. Like nowadays, it's so complicated. Everyone's watching everybody else. Everyone thinks everyone else is having a better life than them. And the reality of it is that you're not. So if you listen to this and you think that everyone else is having a better life, they're not. And that's the truth. But the problem is that you start to believe that. So you start living your own sort of revolving door of that your life is crap and everyone else's life is brilliant. And that's not happening. But unfortunately, the way that the world is kinked at the moment with Instagram and social, and everyone is on, and it looks like everyone is positive, but no one puts up any negative shit.
No.
Smoke and mirrors.
No, but Dave, you're not going to put up the day that you're having a shit day.
No.
Well, you're not, because you don't want to put that up, because you don't.
I don't.
Well, A, you don't like the fact that you're having a shit day, and B, you don't want anyone else to know you're having a shit day.
Yeah, because and plus, if you pop up a shit day, you're looking for attention.
Yeah.
It's like when I went down Galway Wednesday night, and there was all these young lads after finishing their college course, and they were all out drinking, and they knew me, and they came over and they were chatting.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get over how many of them were just what we were talking about before. They had spent 4 or 5 years doing a course, and they were hoping they were delighted they were finished. Didn't want to do what they were doing. Were stressed out.
Yeah.
They're like, what am I going to do now?
What's the real world going to bring?
Like, what do I do now? I'm thinking of doing another course just to delay the onset of I don't know what I want to do. There's no jobs after this for me.
Yeah, it's funny because Warren Buffett says invest in your education because no one can take that from you. The problem is he doesn't say how do you apply it.
Yeah.
And that's
we're in a scary world when your local dealer knows more about running a business than your average college graduate.
Yeah.
Because they don't know anything about anything when they leave college.
But see, it's such a different world now. go back to 15, 17 years ago when I would have started. The whole social media thing now, it's exactly as you're saying. Everyone who's looking or posting. So why do we post on social media? I'm crap. The best I can probably achieve is Facebook, and I'm shit at it. But why do you post something? Because you want people to know what you're doing, or it's all about getting attention. That's really what it's about. But everyone that's looking at it is then looking to the next person looking to the next person. Everyone's looking for the next thing they can't have. So we've probably ended up in a society where no one is content anymore with saying, I have my lot, I have my health, I have my family, and life's actually quite good. Because you don't look back, you don't look at the hundreds and thousands of people behind you who have nothing. But we've never got to the point of saying we're happy where we are, and we should. You know, if we can pay the mortgage, we can pay the bills.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's what it's about. But instead of saying I need to strive for the next thing, some point in your life you have to stop and say, if I strive for the next thing, I push it too far. Take what I have and just enjoy the life I have, and it's probably not a bad gig.
And it's even a simpler thing than that if you just race yourself. Just don't be minding what anyone else is doing. Just do you. And then it doesn't matter where you are, because everyone has such a different, complicated life.
I struggled a lot when I started first in what was my worth.
In what respect?
Well, just like, and what was enough. Where do you get to the point where you're enough? And what was, is this enough? Do I keep going? Do I go another one? Do I go another off? And I think that's important to understand that, you don't necessarily, it's not a wealth thing, funnily enough. People think it's all about wealth, and it's all about, if I have more money, I can do more things, and I can buy more shit, and I can go more places, and I can have better trips, and I can have a better life than everyone else. And I stopped believing in that, quite a while ago actually, because it was never about. You can never have enough. Is the bottom line. If you keep chasing that, you never have enough, because you'll keep buying more shit. And I realized it was more about the now, the moment. Can you enjoy the moment? Can you stand in the moment? Can you enjoy it? I remember a really good photograph of, and it's a golfing thing, but it was Tiger Woods taking a shot, and all you could see was all the people holding their phones. And there was a guy standing there with no phone, drinking a beer, watching them hit balls, and they were saying who has the better experience here. It was the guy
who was living in the moment.
It was the guy in the fucking moment, because he's fucking holding the phone, video it. Who cares about video?
But we've all been offenders of it. I mean, you find those things that years ago you go to, I don't know, the Grand Prix, or you go wherever the hell it is, and you hold your phone up and you just record everything that's going on. For what? You never look back at it. You never pick up your phone and go, I can't wait to look at what I saw at the Grand Prix 2 years ago. No one gives a shit. But instead of standing there saying, I'm just going to enjoy everything that's happening now, because it'll be the best experience I have in my life.
I sat on the bench this morning at home. I have a bench outside the back garden, and I built it in a place where the sun hits it first thing in the morning.
Do you have a wank?
No. So 6:30 in the morning, I sat there.
Did?
Yeah.
And he wasn't up at 6:30.
I absolutely was. So at 6:30, I sat there. The sun hits it, and I sat in the moment for half an hour. I didn't need to fucking video it to know that I was having a good time. I just knew that I was in that moment, and it was great. And the sun was hitting me, and the dog was sitting beside me, and I was drinking a cup of tea. It was perfect.
He sent me a video of half six.
Of him wanking.
Rubbing the dog.
Are you religious?
No.
Are you?
I'm definitely a believer. 100%. Do I go to mass every week? No, I don't.
Like a Justin believer.
No, that's a believer.
Oh, sorry.
A believer.
Leo actually met Justin Bieber.
Oh, I did.
God is Justin Bieber.
I had a believer experience.
Sorry, no, I'm not. No,
At all.
Were you ever?
Are you Catholic or Protestant?
no, neither.
Neither.
Were you raised any?
You're
way?
ambidextrous.
Well, I was Catholic, but I don't go to church. I have a big problem with priests. No, but I just don't get it.
Going where I thought it'd be going.
So maybe
Go on, tell us.
No, it's not.
Maybe
It's not
call
like
this
that.
off
No,
now.
it's not like that. It's not like that. I just know. I don't.
just a tip.
I just don't. I don't get it.
So, do you believe in ghosts?
Ghosts?
Yeah.
No.
Do you ever think about dying?
Yeah, more so now that I'm getting older.
Does it scare you?
No. In what sense?
So, if you don't believe in God,
Yeah.
you don't believe in an afterlife.
He didn't ask me that.
No, you said afterbirth.
No, he said, do you believe in religious?
Yeah, so religious could be any religion. Very spiritual.
Yeah.
What do you think happens after you die?
I don't think anything happens. I think that's the end of it.
Just lights out.
I think so, yeah. I don't think there's anything else.
If there was
Right?
heaven and you could make one phone call to heaven, who would you talk to?
Definitely the guy in the gate.
So if there was
Peter
one,
can let me in.
give me that again.
If there was a heaven
Right.
and you could phone call someone up there,
Yeah.
who would it be?
God, I have no idea. Who would I phone call? And am I still alive or am I dead at this point?
Yeah, you're alive.
I don't think there's anyone I'd want a conversation with that has passed currently.
Leo?
I know the answer to this.
Definitely my dad. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. One more day, one more conversation. Yeah, yeah. But then what did it say? One more conversation, one more day. You know, what do you want? You want one more and one more and one more.
Yeah.
You know, so it could be the harder thing you do as well. But if I had a choice, yeah, 100%.
And if you passed in the morning,
Yeah.
what would you wish people thought of you?
Ball bag.
They already think that. I hated it so much, I guess. I don't know.
Really.
I think that I was a decent enough guy. I
You?
guess.
You'd hope they'd say you're a good guy. No one's perfect. I mean, I think if you'd like people to say you were decent in your intention, But I think you're right as well. There's some people who will say he's a good bloke, and others who will say he was a complete wanker. That's just life. But you'd like to think they'll
I think
of you.
there's, in everyone's life, if we really think about it, there's a minimal amount of people that genuinely know you that say that we're wankers. People as a rule are good. Most people are good. Like, how many interactions have you had as an adult male that you go, that's an evil cunt?
Oh, I've had lots.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd say a few. In business, definitely a good few.
Well, lots.
So I have a lot to learn.
Well, not that you have a lot to learn, but it might just be that the way that you operate in terms of your business, and your business isn't the way that our business is. Where I would have a lot of people that don't like me.
Why?
I think primarily because I was
B.O.
yeah.
I was going to say it.
I did things
I
differently.
was just going to say it.
No, I did things differently, and I did things the way that people, and there would be a lot of jealousy the way that I did things, and I got to do things in places that people could only dream about, operating in.
Who's the most influential person in your life?
Good question. Probably my missus.
Your wife?
Yeah.
Leo?
Definitely my dad. Definitely. Yeah. 100%. I think I suppose in business there are good and bad days, and you'll do things that I'm not saying you wouldn't be proud of. But I think
What the fuck does that mean?
no, but I'm saying
Shady as fuck.
no, but in business.
Oh, look, they were bringing
Dad,
in a
is
container.
this
What about
okay?
a
It's
couple
okay.
of kilos of
it
cocaine?
was, not that.
Well,
way.
his dad was called Leo as well, so it was like Big Leo. Is this okay?
Big Leo, Little Leo, and it was big Leo, Little Leo.
It was.
But I think there's times where you'll be tough, whether it's staff or whatever, and maybe things look back and go, it should have been different, or I'm not proud of it, whatever it would be. But I think the one thing with my dad was always, that you keep things morally right, it's ethical, and you do the right thing for your right intention, and that's what's most important. Sounds good, isn't it?
Does.
Thanks.
Shite.
If you could give, I'll ask you this independently now, you first. If you could give young people out there now any advice, what would you say to them? You're 17, 18 to 20 years of age, you don't know what to do, a little bit confused, everyone's a bit of a mess.
It still is a bit of a mess.
What would you say to them?
I guess you gotta. For me, the key thing was to just keep pushing on, because I didn't know what I wanted to do, and thankfully I allowed myself. I suppose stay open, right? And somebody said this to me before: stay open, and it will eventually find you. So I would say to anyone out there that's kind of struggling with where they fit in the world is to stay true to your values. Be a good person, and it will eventually find you. Whatever it is that you're supposed to do will eventually find you. And don't be afraid to, like Leo was saying, sweep floors, and Leo will drive a van with a machine from his place to Scotland in the morning.
I've often talked to you on the phone, you could be anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm the same. I will be cleaning the toilets in my place on next week, and I'll be putting the rubbish out on a Friday, and I'll be it's not me sitting in an office, pointing directions and writing stuff on the thing. But I would say
Big business.
Get more sales.
Well, you talk about big business, doing big business stuff, but the reality of it is, it's not really big business. It's all about doing the little things. But if people stay open to opportunity, it will eventually find you. But you have to stay open to opportunity, and don't think that you have to have it all fixed when you're 18 and 19, and I'm going to be a guy on Wall Street, or I'm going to be the best thing in the world. But if you stay true to, I guess, the person that you are, and stay open, eventually it will find you. Like it found me by complete accident, by the way. My job found me by accident. I didn't go out thinking I was going to be this club guy in golf. But I stayed open to opportunity, and eventually it found me.
Leo?
I think don't stress about it. I think Derek's right. Let it come to you. I mean, we'll all find our feet at some point. But big thing is don't stress. It's you'll go through so many different, whether it's work, jobs, businesses, whatever. We're lucky. You start a business and it's still functioning. I don't know, 17 years later or 20 years later, it doesn't matter. But you can also start a business tomorrow and it'll fail in 2 years, and you just pick up your pants and get on with it again. That's the way it is. So there's nothing perfect in life. But the big thing is just don't worry about it. Don't stress. Find what you're good at and just enjoy it. Big thing is enjoy it. I mean, the day you get upset by it and it bothers you, walk away from it. Start again. Do something different. Sweep the road, sell wheelbarrows, whatever we said earlier on today. You don't have to, go to college, do 4 years of it and think this is my life. I've done it. If there's nothing else beyond that, I'm stuck with this. It's not that. You can do your 4 years. The best learning you'll have is university life. Do your grounding, do your learning. But when you get out there, just, let it come to you.
But it's fucking graft though. Let's not sugarcoat this to the world and say, this is going to be easy and you're going to be sitting at home, laptop on your lap in Starbucks, doing a few emails and the whole world comes to you.
It doesn't.
We've grafted. I've missed so many things and made massive sacrifices in my life in order to make this thing work. And he's done the same. And I know he has.
But everyone does it. We spoke today. You know Dermot for as long as we know you. And there's guys that get out there. If I think I go out early in the morning, he'll be out there 3 hours before me.
Yeah.
There's always someone working that bit harder than you. And if you think you have a tough time, you have to remember there are people out there working their socks off beyond what anyone else does. Yeah. So I think anything that we do, and what you do, Davey, we're fortunate. You're fortunate what you do, and guys that we know are fortunate what to do. But there's people behind us that have, nothing. So no matter what, I mean, times are tough and times are going to get tough for people. We need to be very clever about, how we live our lives, probably clever how we manage our minds as well, because there are tough times coming, but for everything we do, as hard as we say it is, there's definitely people having a tougher time out there as well. So, but
also enjoy it. Everyone's getting so stressed about fucking career and
have some wine.
Have some wine.
Wine's great.
It's very cheap right now. And beer.
Well, now, I won't mention the garage, but that wasn't over. Was that cheap? Cheap. Actually, it probably wasn't bad for 4
let's not promote that. But look, the reality of it is have some fun along the way. Don't get too stressed up. And Leo's right. Don't get too stressed up about, career and...
Work's work. It's all it is. It is work. At the end of the day, work is work.
Well, my boys, one of the things we try to teach is work ethic. Okay, so no matter whether it's in my business or whether it's my son, one of the things we try to do say is work ethic. Okay, if you've got to be there for 10:30, then turn up at 10:15. I always have this thing about him being there early. I want you to be the guy known to be early, not to be late. Right, so he goes early. And I've taught him that you got to own the job, because if you own the job, you'll have the job. And he's only doing menial stuff.
Yeah, what's that saying? If you don't do more than what you're being paid for, you'll never be paid for more than what you do.
You're correct.
I never heard that.
Yeah.
That's why I'm fucking poor.
You're not poor. You've done good, brother. You've done good, brother. We're all proud of you. Don't forget.
So proud of you.
Thank you. Touch me.
So proud.
Touch me again.
So proud.
But lads, I have to say that was really cool. And thanks a million for coming on and chatting shite to me.
Thank you so much. The wine was fantastic. It's been an absolute pleasure. It's been a pleasure. Lovely to be here. Lovely setup.
Yeah. No, it's grand. I enjoy doing the podcast. I like doing the podcasts.
We like you, Dave.
You're not a bad bloke, actually.
And it's actually funny since I started. I was only in Galway the other night. A young lad came over to me and he goes, David, I have to say, I love the podcasts. No, I didn't like you online and stuff because, talking about too much Mickeys, too much dicks. Too much dicks and too much Mickeys. But now I've gone back and watched your stuff and I was just unlucky enough to see the amount of dicks and Mickeys you were talking about. I didn't know what you were on about. But I love your podcast.
But I think that's your way of just, bringing things down to a certain level, as in it's not that serious. Let's take it down a level.
And
I like that.
I feel so bad for young people right now because I would hate to be growing up in such a complicated world with this massive information. Like for the first time in human history, humans have too much information.
Yeah.
Back years ago, people didn't have any information. Now it's this huge amount of information. We don't know what's real and what's not.
I think we need to develop a certain amount of filter.
Yeah. Or if people were just honest.
Yeah, that's true.
And just themselves. It's so everything always comes down to individual responsibility.
It'll never happen.
Do you really, I don't know. I think we're in this little moment for the next 10 or 15 years where social media is so new, and everyone has to be figuring out bit by bit. And I think they are. Everything's so mad right now. Everything's so crazy right now.
But depending on your age group, we said it coming up today. We go back to when we were growing up, and it without sounding like we're getting kind of old and kind of grey or bigger bellies. We had two stations on our TV. What do you have now?
No,
hundreds.
Too many.
But too many. But all you got is this massive information all the time, and I think that's what makes me, as I get slightly older, retract from the whole idea of technology, because all you're seeing is all the things you don't like. No one ever sold good news. It's always something that's wrong.
Bad news sells now.
Yeah. So, but it's everywhere.
I'm also noticing now that I'm all for being open-minded, but now people are so open-minded, their brains have fell out on the floor.
Yeah.
And they're not even thinking straight.
Yeah.
Like there's no rationality.
It's true.
No logic. There's no logic whatsoever.
Like those drivers on the way up. No logic.
No logic.
Jesus Christ.
The most aggressive man on the road here today. Him.
Oh, no, I'm not aggressive. I just can't deal with people not doing what they're supposed to be doing.
I can't believe you've done that.
You make me look like the fuck up fairy.
Anyway, thanks a million, everyone. And welcome back, I suppose. And lads, I will chat to you again, hopefully sometime.
Fantastic.
Thanks, Dave.
Good luck.